We are in a discussion of AWS solutions architect, and this series we've been discussing the topic of AWS storage type. So I have started discussing about these some of the features difference between each of them: EBS, S3, EFS, and FSX storage services. So we keep continuing discussing more features. All right. So in this slides, we're going to looking into more, a little bit deeper into are the different whatever other than we discuss, right? So this diagram just give you it's a computer resources, right? So maybe think about one of these. It can be a EC2 machine, but it can be another computer as well. So if something connected on premises computer can access some of these services like SMB or EFS file system. So let's think about this instance. This as an EC2 instance act as a computer resource. So let's have a look. What can we do with this one in each one? So the first one is EBS. EBS is a EC2 instance, so it can be directly attached into the computer resource. So it acts as a block storage, low latency. It's a single EC2 instance, not shared. Uh, Availability zone based, same availability zone as the computer resource. So it can be directly attached. So that's what it can do, right? And then if you're looking into a computer resource S3, computer not directly connected to S3, but it can be access S3 object storage in a various ways. The main thing is API access, application programming interface. You can create a programming interface to talk to S3 buckets, like example EC2 instance reading a S3 bucket log, something like that, right? Web is scalable and multiple access point, right? Um, and so it's API access, not direct attach. Then if we have a look into a EFS going to be a mount target for that computer. So NFF file system, the elastic scaling, multiple EC2 instances. So not only this computer, but also any other computers uh, can be used to connect into this NFF file system. So it's a network shared file system. So it should be able to connect as a mount target, right? And then FSX, SMB, and Lustre, Windows Lustre file system, Windows or Lustre file system, and basically using in the high performance enterprise workloads, right? Bit of a little bit expensive option there. Uh, so in here underneath, so feature, storage type, and then how this can be sharing, and then what sort of performance is there, and a user case, right? So EBS is a block volume, as we spoke, sharing only for EC2 in a single availability zone. one data center, which computer resides, high IOPS, right? What is IOPS? IOPS is input output operations per second. So how many inputs and output operations per second? That is like how many input and output operations. So through output means sort of how much data you can write into the that disk, right? So that's the different. EBS can be a boot volume or can be a database volume for a database sort of transactional data processing sort of things it can be used, right? And S3, so object storage is global. Performance is a moderate. It's all depend on how where your region and sort of where you're going to use and what's the purpose, right? It's sort of static contents, right? So you can use some of the statics websites and some other purposes. So API through API, computer resource can be accessed in three buckets, right? And then now we moving into EFS, Elastic File System. So it's an NFS network file system. It can be accessed through multiple EC2, and performance is medium to high, right? And then that's basically mainly for Linux workloads, right? And then you go FSX file, SMB, and Luster, multiple EC2, same. It's a very high, it's a powerful, you can use it. Basically, it's going to be used for Windows and high performing computer uh, requirements. All right, so let's have a look what this one says. It's a point form EBS, elastic block storage. Block storage attached to EC2. They are mainly attached to EC2. Single availability zone, single instance, boot volumes, databases, low latency, high IOPS, SSD, HDD can be as examples. S3, simple storage service, object storage with TTP and API. So it can be accessed through web or secure web. And then we can use API interface, can use access in the regional, and then internet accessible, right? User case, static content, backups, logs, so many use, right? Like archives, right? Video files, whatever you use for a lot of storage, you can use scalable through output. Like if you have a sort of, let's see, maybe think about if you got some sort of compliance policy, auditors need the sum of files for 7 years, but you hardly using files after 2 years or maybe 1 year. So you can move the other files basically into one of the life cycle options in there, right? We're going to discuss that later. So just a reminder, elastic file system, NFS, multi-availability zone, multi-instance, use case shared file system, CMS, performance, consistent and scalable. So these ones are mainly accessible from a multi um, instances. That's where major difference between EBS and EFS. So if any program or anything needed to access a multi-computer instance, that EFS coming into action in mainly in Linux. Right? FSX, file system for X, manage file system, various protocols, SMB, cluster, use cases, Windows workloads, high performance computing, mainly enterprise level high performance computing options are yes, right? This graph, let's have a look to understand what is this graph. Okay, so been drawn a graph with so many different colors, and you got a cost, scalability one side, performance another side, durability another side, uh, accessibility another side. All right, like equal one, two, three, four, five. I don't know what do you call it, a pentagraph. No idea. All right, see that the cost goes through this one. Let's try to understand. So S3 uh, cost, EBS cost, EFS cost, and then FSX cost. Um, then that direction, see that these ones. So if you go to very low, FSX is very low in here. I don't know if it's correct or not. So EFS next, medium, S3, not S3, EFS, EBS, and then high is S3. So if you check, I'll take a one at a time maybe. S3 cost is somewhere here high, but its durability is very high. This direction, see that? Top in durability, right? Accessibility is also very high. And then scalability is also very, very high. It's a performance is depend on whatever the S3 life cycle you in. So all depend on that's why it's in here, right? And if you're looking into EFS, another famous one, so EFS cost is in the low region, durability is higher, but less higher than uh, it's less higher than mm, it's lower than S3, and then performance wise, high, green one. Scalability is in medium, and then accessibility is also high, right? Uh, FSX, let's have a look. That's a different one. Uh, that's for Windows file system X. So that one's durability is high, performance is very high, scalability is in the middle, medium, and then accessibility is medium. Um, Cost is low. I don't know how it's become cost is low. Anyway, uh, this is what it is mainly. Just I think don't worry about this graph much. All right. Mm. All right. So we are more exploring in these file systems. All right. So uh, now previous slides and previous video, we had a look how much, what is the difference between them and what are the features, different features, what are the scenarios, how they work, what is the main type. In this video, we're going to talk about just it's a common way. We're going to talk common usage scenarios for S3 storage. So, primary S3 use cases. So, we're talking about S3 buckets, right? So, MS and S3 provide scalable, durable, cost-effective storage for diverse workloads, right? So, this one gives you a cost-effective solution and is scalable and durable. Only need to pay whatever you used. So you don't need to directly take 1 terabyte space in a S3. So it grows. When you use it grows. When it grows, you can move some of your data is not frequently used into a different tiers, right? So let's have a look at what this primary S3 use cases, right? So one of the primary use case is backup and archiving. So see that if you need a on-premises data protection, you might be doing with a backup or anything like that. But nowadays, cloud backup tools, interfaces, client programs, so many things are available with the incremental sort of backing up. Once in a week, you can do full backups, sort of things, right? So you can use on-premises data. If you have any servers in on-premises, you can back up it to S3, right? That gives you a data protection from on-premises, right? And then cloud-based disaster recovery. You can design a cloud-based disaster recovery solution, right? And then long-term retention with Glacier. So Glacier is one of the tier, archive tier in S3. So you can use long-term retention, like I said, I think mentioned in the previous video. Some of your organizations uh, payroll stuff, HR document, or sort of auditors comes and tell you to keep them in a certain number of years, maybe 7 years. Is if you're in like a supermarket industry or something, maybe you have dockets and other stuff or that data. There is a time in the rules in each country or each region. So you want to keep these ones like in the past we've been putting mountains of boxes in our warehouses. So now we can put that mountains of boxes into S3 and move them into Glacier. So some of the data, like after 2 years, maybe maximum 2 years, if you want to keep them in 7 years, 2 years, very rarely the data after 2 or 3 years being used in. So you can move them into a long-term retention with the Glacier. So you have to pay a less amount of money, right? And then what can we do? Content distribution, so media storage and delivery. software distribution, integration with the cloud front. So this in the you remember S3 can be used for content distribution as well, right? So if you got a media or deliveries, right? Maybe like you are a TV company or something. Um, you do teledramas, dramas, documentaries, sort of things. So collecting lot of data every day, so you can't keep uh, this data because nowadays high resolution they are not like collecting with gigabytes and then it become a terabyte. So you can use the content distribution and then move into a when they're not using you can move into archive application hosting. So static websites hosting, that's a one of the oldest case is static web hosting. So still available mobile application resources, cloud native app storage. If you have anything like running in the cloud native app, you can use S3 as the storage for that cloud app's data, right? So advanced use cases. Another few different cases are big data analytics. Store and analyze massive data sets. So we got data analysis section is a broad and different section. We're going to talk in a different topic. Disaster recovery, cross-region replication for business continuity. So you can say CPP, cross-region replication, CRR, right? Cross-region replication. Data lake, centralized repository for structured and unstructured data. Same thing. Data category, we're going to talk sort of a different section. So in here, we see S3 ecosystem. Let's have a look what it says. Sort of mm, S3 storage. So the same thing. What can you use? So you can use backup, content distribution, big data, websites, disaster recovery, app storage. So keep on mind the uses of S3. Sometimes in the questions, you have to select maybe running a website or maybe running a data flow or something like that. Then just need to select what storage type is. You have to use the EBS, have you to have the NFS, or do you have to use S3? So what is the difference? Just keep on this usage of S3 in cases, right? All right, so let's have a look. Anyway, I'll go through with this one. I don't think it's very important, but let's have a look what it says. I don't think it's a slide that needed for, but anyway, um, yeah, I don't think this is necessary, right? Um, yeah, I'm going to get rid of this one. We don't need that page. All right, that's good. Uh, okay, let's talk about advanced comparative analysis of Amazon S3 storage classes. Right? We're going to talk about uh, classes. Okay. Just give me one. Let's have a look at advanced comparative analysis of Amazon S3 storage classes, right? So we're going to talk more about S3. So S3 been using various type of cases, right? A lot of questions, part of question. If I tell you, it's nature of these questions in solution architect is a lot of things that link to each other. So only knowing one service, you can't get into anywhere. So we're just going to more deep into digging more deep into these things. More you know, you can get an idea, right? Okay, so understanding a three bucket basics, right? So bucket is container for objects, files stored in S3, right? So it's just like a bucket, right? Or you got a like marbles, and you have a bucket. You put these marbles into the bucket. It's similar thing like container for object file is stored in S3, right? naming convention naming convention. So global namespace, right? Names must be unique across all AWS accounts, right? They need to be unique across all AWS accounts, right? They need to be unique in all AWS accounts. Right? Limitations up to 100 bucket per standard account. So that is a limitation is a normal account if you create. That's allow 100 bucket. If you want more, your company, you can talk to support and get that limit increased necessary. Um, naming format up to 60 characters. The bucket you can name whatever the name, but you need to make sure you only can use lowercase letters, numbers, hyphens, and periods, right? That's all you can use. You can't use like a dollar sign, right? Has, shine. They are not accepted. So naming format need to be lowercase letters, numbers, hyphens, periods, right? Let's see that mm, Amazon is three bucket. So this is the bucket, right? And bucket, you got two different folders, not two, three here. That's separate files, right? So you got an image folder, images, two photos are there. You got a documents folder, got a report PDF, you got a backup zip, and then you have some index HTML style files. So it's looking in, I think they are, let's have a look. What are these? S3 hierarchical structure, folders, and files. Right? So check their keys, right? So files is stored in S3 buckets. They are called objects, documents, image, whatever, zip files, archives, videos, audios, MP3, MP4, whatever. Size can be one file size. This is you can put 0 to 5 terabytes per bucket. So you can have a huge files here, no limitation. Huge file up to 5 terabytes in a one object. So component, data, each file you have data and metadata. So data is your file. Actually, let's say you got your resume, you upload it into a um, S3 bucket. So it should have a detailed name of the file and then attribute size, when it's uploaded, last modified, version information, sort of attributes, right? A components, keys, unique identifier. So that being used to identify your file over S3. How do you identify it, right? So URL format, right? It should be HTTP bucket name S3 dot Amazon Amazon AWS.com and then a key. Hmm? See that? Gives you bucket. Let's see where I can go. Yeah, see that? It just this one says bucket one. You got the different folders and files. Bucket two, you go to folders and files. You can directly get into bucket. So outside the folders, you can have subfolders, just like a file structure. Once you create the bucket, you can create the file structure and then you can upload into a whatever the like. You can organize the can organize very well how your file is going to be, different names and other stuff. But I think it's gone for about 30 minutes now. I'm going to discuss this slide in my next video. Until then, thank you very much.